Awesome. What's up, guys? Really excited to talk with Maria here. We just started working together. I believe it was like less than 3 weeks ago. But really excited to talk about Maria and what she's been able to accomplish just over the past 3 weeks. So let's just kick it off with this, Maria. Could you just briefly introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your business, what you do?
Yes, my name is Maria Rovira, and I own a tax and accounting practice. It's called Conscious CFO. So I do CFO work for small businesses. Well, I actually concluded that with you, but yes, that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll jump into that a little bit. But
Yeah.
how long have you been doing this for? How long have you been in the industry for?
I've been doing this since 2014. I started this practice, so I've been doing it for like 6 years now.
Okay, 6 years, and working with mostly, small businesses.
Very small businesses. Actually, even startups. I started with like people like wanting to open up businesses from scratch. So I did that for a little bit, lots of work, and then I started coming on like on a consulting basis. So during those years, I did pretty good, more in the financial part, and then I added tax and accounting to the practice. And that's when kind of everything kind of changed, how I was doing business and how was I approaching leads and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So when we first started talking, can you just let everybody know a little bit, where were things at back at the beginning, back all of like a month ago? Where were things at with the business?
Well, I was all over the place, of course. I think I struggled a lot to try and identify like how I wanted to position myself or what I wanted to do. And I think I was kind of exploring that solution through like how I was feeling confidently about what I could offer and what I could give to clients. And my confidence level was not the greatest. I'm still working on it. So I felt like I navigated through a lot of like different offerings. Oh gosh.
That's okay.
Sorry.
There you go. It's okay.
So I felt I navigated through a lot of different scenarios of like what I should be doing. So obviously when Charlie met me, I was like partnering with somebody. I was offering this, I was doing that, because I still was trying to figure out like what at the end what I wanted to do, and like I wanted to make sure I was like taking advantage of everything, and so that reflected a lot in my pricing. So my pricing, oh gosh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So my pricing was horrible. I'm still kind of working through my pricing. I think I got a lot better, but it stemmed from that too, because I guess I was kind of interested in just kind of getting clients in, or trying to feel like I was selling stuff, and I was just pricing at whatever to get kind of whatever clients I was getting. So that's where I was. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. So what was it when you were with the pricing? Like, why do you think you were pricing lower? Was that the confidence? Do you think that part of that?
I think it had to do with the confidence, and I think it had to do with the focus. I think that when I started adding tax and accounting to my practice, because before I always did like consulting work, business advisory work, but it was more on like financial, which is my background. I'm more of a finance person. So I did a lot of more forward thinking than kind of backward thinking. So when I added tax and accounting, I think I felt like I didn't have the knowledge and the experience to be offering these services or coming across as a wholesome kind of advisor. So because of my confidence dropping, of course, I felt like, well, maybe I just let me get any type of clients in, because I don't feel like I'm going to get like the good ones. So I just started pricing very low. And then that led me to try to do a lot of things at the same time to make sure that I could get income in, So I was like focusing, had all these little clients, still have them, trying to get rid of them, but just at a lower price. So I think that's kind of where it led to me always charging so low, because of the confidence and not the really kind of focusing on what I wanted to achieve and how I wanted to be perceived, in clients.
Gotcha, 100%. And I know when we started out with a battle plan call together. And do you recall what we talked about, like when we first just got started on the battle plan?
Yes, you were actually, and the battle call was really good because you actually made me kind of rethink. You actually brought me down to reality and started making me like analyze like what I've been doing and the reasons why I've been doing it. And then you started kind of giving me insight of why I was caught in this process. And I didn't really look at it that way. And you kept telling me, you know, you keep charging that low, you're still going to get stuck with all the work, and you're not going to be really able to focus on the big clients you want or at the pricing you want. So it's like, so then I realized, I was like, you know what? I just created like a vicious circle for myself, and I didn't even realize it. And then I started thinking, well, why is it? And then you also started asking me, why is it that I charge so low? And I couldn't understand at the time, but obviously from that call, I started kind of analyzing it, and I realized I felt like I wasn't confident. And then of course I felt like I was doing too much at this. I was all over the place. So that wasn't helping my confidence. So when I started doing your modules and I started going through your modules, which were great, you basically started from, I know it sounds redundant, from the beginning. So I literally had to start looking at my practice from zero again through your modules. And I was like, oh, wow. So you even, I remember that I even wrote it on one of my boards. You even worked through your vision and like, what do you want to do? And like, how do you want to be perceived? And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even have time to do that. Like I didn't, you know, I was so focused on other things. So that process really started bringing me back, kind of honing me down and bringing me back to a place where like, okay, Maria, what is it you really want to do here? And then I started going through the modules and I started writing out like my little, you said pick 5 words, and I started literally taking and doing the exercise. And then I came up with my little word or vision or goal, whatever. And I was like, wow, this is what I've always wanted to do. So from there, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be known as, you know, like what I told you earlier, as a conscious CFO, as somebody that helps business owners. Excuse me, yes. Okay, dile papi. So I said, what do I want to be known as? Like, what is it that I did before? And I even started thinking, Charlie, like, why did I add tax and accounting? Like, why did I take that extra step? Because sometimes we forget on our own journey the decisions we make and why we made them. And I was like, well, why did I even take that step and add those services? And then I realized it's because I wanted to be known as a more wholesome advisor, and I wanted to approach business at a more, you know, kind of like an advisory place. So that helped me realize that as well. So that's kind of like how everything started kind of settling, and I started feeling more confident, and then I started kind of focusing more. And like I was telling you earlier before we started talking about this, now I feel like I charge better, like I feel more confident, and I'm like, you know, I always think about like, well, this is how much I'm going to charge, and if you want it, that's fine, and if you don't, that's okay. I'm just going to go find somebody else that would pay me for it. So,
that's awesome. That's so cool. So you felt some more sense of empowerment, and
yes, I definitely have. Yep.
Awesome. What happened? I'm just trying to paint this picture here. Like, so what happened after we did our battle plan call? Like, what actions did you take like immediately after that?
I started going through your modules, and then I started doing I started working on one of the other things you did was after I figured out, okay, this is what I want to be perceived as, you started talking about planning your day or planning your week or planning everything. So I started doing that too, and that helped me so much. And I remember that one of the videos you said, just pick 3 things, like the day, right when the day ends, 3 things that you want to achieve the next day. And I started doing that. Like, I started like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I first didn't even know what to pick because, of course, I had 1,000 things I wanted to do the next day. So first it took me a little bit to kind of hone down what I wanted to do. And then I was like, you know what? And the more I did it every day, I started feeling more like, oh, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. So now, like I was showing you, I even plan out my day. Like I have a full schedule. And I literally plan out, like I divide my day morning, afternoon. And then morning is when I'm doing my sales and marketing. And then afternoon, I do my work on the things that I have on the business. And then I even train my assistant that in the morning, she does not bother me with any questions or anything. And then in the afternoon, we meet. And then another thing I did was because I realized through your modules, you talk about process and how you want, you know, like if I'm going to sell, like how I'm going to get things done. And I realized that my assistant was not doing a lot of the work. And it was because I really didn't pass it on to her. I didn't have like a written down step by step, like when you get this client, you do this. And I took a day, I didn't tell you this, Charlie, I took a day and I literally started writing out like my internal processes for onboarding a new client, you know, to invoicing, to offboarding, to like sending stuff. I literally took a whole day and wrote out all my internal processes. And I had a meeting with her, and I said, and when I went over all of it with her. So now she kind of like took off and handles that stuff. So that helped me a lot too. That helped me so much.
How has your focus changed now that you have that plan, that piece of paper in front of you? Has that helped?
Yes, it does, because when I want to lose focus, I go back, like when something pops up, because the other thing that was happening, things would pop up and I would just, you know, when we first started the conversation, I was working on a 2553. Well, that's my day. Something pops up and I'll just start working down that path. And then I remember what I started to do was, wait a minute, this I can do in the afternoon. I don't have to do this right now. So even when clients would come, I say, we'll deal with it. I'll talk to you after 2 and I'll deal with it. Or I already know when I'm going to deal with it. So it makes it better for me to keep myself focused and kind of keep everybody kind of going where they need to be. Like I told you, my assistant, I told you in the mornings I'm doing sales and marketing. I can't help you with anything. Just write it out, put it in a text, and we'll deal with it in the afternoon. So that's helped me a lot too, to kind of make sure that what I'm doing is kind of in the time frame I need to be doing it. So
love it. And so just curious, like, I know that we've only been working together for three weeks, but what do you feel like, you know, how's progress been so far?
It's been really good. I'm excited. I mean, of course, like you said, it's only been 3 weeks, so there's still a lot of clean out that I have to do, but at least I'm charging more. I've onboarded, I want to say 1 to 4 clients. I've priced them better. Mm-hmm. I've managed to incorporate, like with all the frenzy that's going on with the COVID-19, I'm actually pretty proud that I haven't let that lose my focus, but actually have included it in what already I had planned to do with the business. So that's been great. So it's like, okay, now that I know what I want to do and where I want to be and how I want to be seen, I'm going to take this situation with COVID-19. I'm just going to, you know, kind of align it. So I've been doing that. So
and you just enrolled a client for, I think we were just talking, for how much was that one for?
I did $2,000 for each business. So yes.
Wow.
So I did that. And then I enrolled another one I did 2,500 tax prep work. And then I charged, I think it was like $350 for bookkeeping work. I know I still need to work on my bookkeeping fees. And then I did another $1,500 for another prep work, tax preparation work for another business of his.
Wow. So those prices have definitely gone up significantly.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Where do you see us going? Where do you see yourself going from here for the next 2 months and beyond?
I really want to increase my sales. So my goal is to really increase my I know you and I talked about a goal, like what is your monthly goal? So I really want to hit my monthly goal, and I want to have a tight process in place, like a streamlined process in place. For the type of clients I want to kind of onboard and keep. So right now I'm working on sales. So I'm trying to get myself exposure and sales. So that's what I'm going to start working next week. It's kind of seeing how many leads I can start generating.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you about this. So
I'm excited.
I'm just curious. So before you came on, what was it that ultimately made you say, like, hey, like I'm up for this. Like, I want to work with Charlie.
A couple things, Charlie. First, because, you know, you've been insistent, you know, you're really good at keeping up. And I always thought, you know, I need to really talk to Charlie, and you would always keep up in the time that I most needed it. Right. The second thing was, the last time we spoke, before we even onboarded and started working, you were already giving me advice. And I appreciated that, because we haven't even started working. And it was that partnership I was trying to get into. And you already hashing out advice and guidance, and we hadn't even started working. And when that didn't go through, as you said, it wouldn't go through, I said, you know what? This is maybe the sign I need to really start working with him, because, you know, that was kind of enlightening, and he did it. We didn't even start working. That means he really cares for his client and cares what he's doing. So that pushed me even more. And then it was time. I think it was time. Like when that partnership blew up, I was like, okay, you know what? It's time. I need to stop like running from this and get this in order, you know? So.
Totally. I love it. Would you recommend, would you recommend us to anybody else or someone, another accountant out there? Yeah.
Yes, I would.
What would you, I was going to go ahead. Sorry.
I would definitely recommend you. I think what I would say is like and you know this too, I've been in a couple communities. I've been part of a couple groups. I've been part of Andrew's group. I've been part of a couple other groups. And I've been part of, I don't know if you know him, Ben. I think Ben is the other. And you know Ben? He has another group. Anyways, so I've been part of all their groups and I've done all their stuff. And I think the difference with you is I think you really, it's not that they don't care, because they do care, but I think your one-on-ones, I think you cater to the person specifically. And I think that's what's going to differentiate you from the rest. Because I think what they're doing is they do it in a general manner. And they offer great advice in the general manner, and they have great tips in the general manner, like for everybody to apply. But I think that when it comes to advising a person to really understanding why they are not meeting their goals or why they're not achieving what they want to achieve, it's more than just they're not following suit with the steps that you're offering them. It has to do with something else. And in my case, it had to do with confidence, and it had to do with not focusing. And it had to do, and I think when we started talking, you went straight there. You didn't even talk about their processes. You just went straight there. So this is where, I think that's why I would kind of recommend you to anybody else.
Really, really appreciate that. Cool. And just as we wrap up, like, what would you say to somebody that's considering, that's maybe on the fence, or,
I think you should I think it's going to be worth it. And I think you'll see results if you really kind of, if you really open yourself to the process and you really open yourself to the advice, you will see it kind of results. You have to be open enough, I think is really what you want to do. And I think with you make it comfortable to be open enough. I don't know if that makes sense,
100%. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And I appreciate the kind words, Maria. So really do. Just wrapping up, can you let people know how they can find you, find out more about you online?
Yes. Instagram, Your Conscious CFO, Facebook, Maria Rovira, Your Conscious CFO. And I'm working on my website. So I'm still updating my page. I'm revamping it from what it was, but so Facebook and Instagram are pretty high presence, so you can see me there. Find me there.
Cool. Love it, okay. Maria. Thanks so much for your time, and looking forward to work. Keep on trucking here.
Thank you, Charlie.